Well, it's about excuse me, it's about 4:10, and myself and Jack have just come back from a little jaunt we've been on. So been away for a few days, and I've come back and I've lit both stoves because the cottage has really cooled down. This is something that happens when you leave the fires. You don't light the stoves. The chimneys, which are all made of stone, and the cottage, which is made of stone, begins to cool down. And it does take, well, it can take, depending on the weather, it can take up to 3 days to get the temperature in the cottage back up to that lovely, ambient, comfortable temperature. So, both stoves are going. So I'll take you out, as Jack was so keen to get outside. In fact, when I was coming up the drive, I stopped at the gate and I let him out of the car, and he just bounded. He just bounded up the drive. And when I arrived up in the car then, he was actually sitting on the front doorstep waiting to get in. So I've come back and I've got straight into work. I did my posting today, because the last posting I did was on Monday, although there weren't a lot of books and maps and calendars and stuff to post. In fact, it's been very meagre over recent weeks. So I've got straight back into sorting out plants, because there's another storm on the way in. I think it's called Storm Dennis, and it's going to bring an awful lot of rain with it, possibly some cold weather as well, I would expect. But anyway, I brought back some pots, and this pot here is now home to the bay tree. And of course, now the bay tree is in a bigger pot, it's going to get even bigger. And you can see, because I've taken it out of this pot here, which was quite big, I've taken it out and I've put it into this one, and you can see the roots are very bound up. So I've loosened them up a little bit. I have to get some more compost over just to fill in around the sides, but then that should make sure that the bay tree, which I grew from a little cutting by the way, should be good for another 3-4 years, something like that. So that's going to go back into that corner. Of course, as soon as I got in, I made myself a cup of tea and decided to do a little bit of a walkabout, just having a look to see how much progress there has been in Imbach. And of course you can see the progress because even just here at the back of the cottage, you've got these buds coming out on the flowering currant. I'd say within a few days there'd be some flowers on this. So the whole garden should be just smothered with pink blossom, because that is what the flowering currant is all about. Lots and lots of quite heavily scented pink blossom, which the bees are so attracted to. I think more so than any other flower, and even more so than the willow. And as I was driving back, I could see lots and lots of willow out on the very tops of the trees. Here's some more buds breaking on the ribes. So lots and lots of willow was out, but you have to look right up at the top in order to see just how prolific it is. And this is the clematis. The clematis now, I think there's clematis and honeysuckle here, yes. Do you know, I'd forgotten I'd put the clematis in here because it didn't seem to do too well. And then what I did, I put honeysuckle in. I thought that would kind of be a bit more rampant. But it looks as though the clematis is benefiting from the shelter of the honeysuckle. So I think this year there's going to be so many flowers and so many leaves and just life in general. and wherever I've cut back, it's just allowed lots and lots more light in, and I can see some buds on the daffodils over there, just there. Now, it's been very interesting. While I've been away, I've been just catching up with social media and sort of hanging out a little bit on social media in the evening when I was in my room, because of course I did bring some books with me, but I rapidly devoured those. And so I was looking then on social media just at various sites and just generally getting a sort of a feel of what's going down on social media. And you know, I am a bit bewildered by it all. I say bewildered in the context of just simply not understanding the kind of subtext of it all. You know, I think overall on social media, especially on YouTube, the subtext seems to be about advertising and therefore making money. And there's an awful lot of conspiracy stuff on YouTube, and a lot of a lot of interesting stuff as well. I love documentaries and anything which enriches my knowledge, and I love anything historical. But there's an awful lot of rubbish on there as well, and it's becoming more and more difficult to apply the filter. You know, the filter you have in your head that will filter out the worst of the nonsense. Look at him going mad. Look, he just is so happy to be home. No more than myself. I mean, I was just so delighted to be home. It's just wonderful. And to hear the bird song, and oh my, how I miss this place when I'm away. But here I am, you know, skipping from one subject to another. It's hard to concentrate on the negative aspects of social media when I'm watching this this boy doing his little look at the happy head on him. Look. He's laughing. Can you see? Let me just get a close up of his face because it's so funny. Look at that happy head. Right, I'm going to have to ignore him now for a little bit, because otherwise I'm just going to be Alright, okay, I'll have a go anyway. So, forget where I was. Something to do with social media and negativity. Okay, I'll come off that, because you all know all about that. Gosh, I don't need to spell it out. I'm sure all thinking, intelligent people are aware of the sometimes utter nonsense that's been spewed out in social media. And of course there's been lots and lots of politics and lots of... Okay, I'm stopping there. It's pointless. When I was coming up the driveway in the car, I stopped in a few places because I was aware, of course, of Jack running up the driveway, and I didn't want him kind of bounding out from the bushes. So I stopped in a few places just to check to see where he was. And of course I stopped by the pond. So now I'm not going to go on for too long in this video, because it's going to take me ages to load up. But what I will do is I will take you down to the pond and show you some of the crazy activity that's been going on there since I've been away. It's as though the frogs knew that I'd gone. They'd probably seen the gate being locked and decided what they were going to do was just have a great big party. So they've all conglomerated down there in the pond, And as I pulled up and, kind of stopped the car, there was this massive kind of splish, splosh, splash as they all dived underwater. So I think there's going to be a lot of tadpoles this year. There's already quite a lot of frog spawn has been laid in the pond. And I know there's a lot of heavy rain forecast, which is going to make the pond gush. But, oh, there's a little robin there. But there's lots of little pools all the way down the stream where the frog spawn can quite easily get trapped and actually make their home, when they emerge. So let me just take you over. Okay, so first of all, you can see here in what I call the birthing pool, which is one, as you know, I constructed this, I hand dug this out in order to ensure that there was lots of shallow water for the frogs. So you can see there's a few great big dollops of frog spawn has been laid. Now, oh, there's my little friend again. I just go up around to the side of the pond. Very, very wet, although it's still walkable. I mean, in the days before all this was dug out, you could not walk on this. Okay, I've seen a lot of frogs up here splashing and sploshing down, but they're probably all below that pondweed. Let me go around this side. Okay, so you can see the frog spawn. There's quite a lot there below the surface as well. Now I think in order to catch the frogs at it, so to speak, I have to be sort of down here around about midday. I think that's when most of the frenetic action takes place. So there's not many to be seen at the moment. Anyway, if it's not too wet tomorrow, I'll make a little video around about midday and see if we can't catch them at it. It's funny when you put it like that. Oh, there's some dandelions coming up down there. Oh, that's jolly good food, actually. You can pick the dandelion leaves now and you can juice them, or you can put them into salads. The younger the leaf, of course, the less bitter it is. But it's a bit like rocket. It tastes like rocket. But I'd say it's much better for you than rocket, because it's very rich in both iron and vitamin C. Okay. Now the other thing that's come out is absolutely gorgeous. The coltsfoot flowers. Can you see? Of course, coltsfoot is a herb, one of the very many herbs. It was widely used. Well, I suppose all the herbs are widely used back in the days before pills pills and sort of, I don't know, what would you call it, sort of chemical medicine. The other thing that's coming up over here, and of course it's absolutely on time, is the celandines. You can see here this beautiful swathe of celandines. So they normally flower around about March. So the leaves come up first and then the flowers develop. And let me see, before we finally say au revoir, see if I can see any catkins. Just gazing around whilst just pointing the camera in front of me. I'll just walk up through here and have a little look. I think if I go deep into the woodland I'll be able to see them. But I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible, which is almost impossible, as you know, for me. This could take hours to load up. I can hear all kinds of noises. Very easy to get distracted when you walk through this woodland, because there's so much to see and so much to listen to. Ah yes, I can see some catkins. I don't know if there's enough light for the camera to pick them up. Let's see. Let's have a little go. You can just make them out. Little catkins there. So I can only imagine now that there would be quite a few bees out. I say quite a few, just relatively speaking, you know, for the time of year. But I did come across two on the Mahonia, and as you go up towards the coast and the Gulf Stream, the warming effect of the Gulf Stream, probably come across quite a lot of bees. And we might even see the bees enjoying a longer lifespan, because of course in the past it's always been that, you know, you have the cold of the winter that they have to shelter from, and the cold of the early spring, and so therefore nature was part of nature's plan to put them to sleep during that time so they would survive. But of course with the warming, as I said, they may get to enjoy a longer lifespan, especially the male bees. Little robin, I think. Okay, so I'm going to say blessings to you all. Please click on the links below this video that will take you through to the newly updated website, which is now iPhone friendly. And if you want to support Bealtaine Cottage and all the stuff I put out on social media, free from advertising, there are books, a calendar, a map, and bumper stickers, so you can take your choice. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Blessings to you all.